Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Living with Sarge. If you are new here, my name is Sarah, but most people call me Sarge. And today's episode is going to be based on my teaching experience. Somebody asked me in the question poll that I had asked on Instagram what age I prefer teaching. And so when I initially started teaching in 2009, I had never heard of the Montessori environment before. I'd never heard of the Montessori teaching environment before, and it was a new environment, but I was shocked, and shocked in a good way. Like, if I was taught, I honestly feel like this in my heart, if I was taught in a Montessori environment as a child and not the traditional teaching, I think I would have thrived in school. Because there's just something about the Montessori environment where a child is allowed to go into the classroom, they have their 3-hour work cycle, and they're allowed to choose whatever work they want to do, what they are interested in. And not only does that just improve like their minds in all aspects, but they are excited to come to school. They are excited to learn, and as a teacher, that's just like the dream. So when I started working in 2009, I started as an assistant in the toddler class. And basically the toddler class is from when they can start walking to 3 years old. And I loved it there. Those children brightened up my life with their character, their charisma. They were finding themselves, and I was finding myself at the time, and just reading them stories, teaching them their colors, the numbers, just simple counting at that time. I felt like when they were getting it, my purpose was being fulfilled. And then I started studying, and then I moved up to the 3 to 6 environment as an assistant. And whoa, that environment, the materials on the shelf, the amount of work that the children can do, the amount of work that the children can learn, from numbers to sound to then putting it together. We have something called pink language, blue language, and green language. So the pink language is like 3-letter sounds, so p, e, n, and then they would be able to see the picture, and then go pen. And then for blue language, I'm trying to think on the top of my head. I cannot think on the top of my head, but blue language is basically 4-letter sounds. So for instance, no, I can't use blue because blue is a green language box. Anyway, so there's different kind of variables in the language aspect of it. They do culture, they do sensorial, so it's like textile, tactile stuff. They have practical life where they do pouring activities, which I, for one, although the toddlers have it in their classroom too, I, for one, am so for. It helps that they find fine motor skills, their gross motor skills. They are able to do stuff at home independently because of these activities at school. So, yeah, in the 3 to 6 environment, there's just a wider variety of things, but the con there is those little monkeys. They hated me calling them that, but they were monkeys. They were wild. They would push push the boundaries to the point where it would lead them into the thinking corner. And basically the thinking corner, because Maria Montessori was against timeout, she initially started the thing of they would have to look at a fishbowl. But because we didn't have any fish at the classroom, we would put out a timer, and according to their age, they would have to watch the timer, kind of self-reflect on why they were put in the thinking corner, and then they would come to the teacher, and the teacher would be like, okay, why did I put you in the thinking corner? They would reply, and they would kind of have a discussion. Now, in my 11 years of teaching, and going back to the toddler class, I would say the age group that was my favorite would be the toddler group, so 18 months to 3 years, just because they are finding themselves, and I still feel like I'm finding myself, so I can relate. Also, we underestimate the heck out of these little toddlers. They can learn just as much theme work and materials as a 3 to 6 can. Like, it doesn't matter about your age. If you're exposed to the work and you are interested, and they are interested, they will learn. Like, for instance, we do, and that in the toddler class, well, I did, like, I introduced a color a week, a sound a week, a number a week, and a shape a week. And the shapes wouldn't just be a normal square, triangle, circle. It would go from the geometric solids like cylinder, sphere, and they would get that. Then it's numbers, and because you're doing the numbers, we put work-related themes on the shelves, and so they get to be able to feel the number. And the more they feel it, the more they are exposed to how to write it. And once they are able to write it, I mean, that just helps them at school when they're older. And then the sounds, we would play I Spy games. So say we're doing the letter A, I would create a little basket. And in that basket, I would have an ant, an apple, an antelope, an axe. And it would be these small little objects. And we would play I Spy. So I'd put it on the mat in front of me. They would all be sitting down. And I'd be like, okay, let's just make up a name. I'm going to use my name, Sarah. Sarah, I spy with my little eye something starting with an A. And they would literally look at the objects and say apple. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. They all start with an A. But then I would start adding in, say the next week we'd do burr. I'd add in a banana. I'd add in a boat. I'd add in something not necessarily blue. I'd add in a bat. And then I would go, okay. And I'd switch from A to burr. So Sarah, I spy with something. I spy with my little eye, something beginning with a burr. And there would be the A options and the B options all mixed up in once, and they would get it. And then regarding the theme work, those children blew me away, because they're sitting on the mat, you showing them these pictures, and you telling them information about the hibiscus and the lily arum and the rose and this and that, and you ask them questions like, which plant gives you medicine or is used in teas? And they'll go, the hibiscus. And you're like, oh my word, you guys are actually listening. So yeah, that age group is definitely my favorite, because not only are they cute, they are a little bit more respectful, although I feel like that as children get older, they kind of lose respect for you, and ages 2 to 3, you kind of just have to give them like the eye and not really say much, and then they kind of get the gist. And if not, for instance, say they're riding their bikes in the playground and they're riding those black bikes into the wall, and you go, Sarah, please stop riding the bike into the wall, you're going to break it. And she decides, you know what, I'm going to ignore this teacher and I'm going to continue riding it. And you go to her, bend down to her level, and you go, Sarah, you need to stop riding the bike into the wall. You're going to break it. If you're not going to listen, I'm going to take it away. And what does Sarah do? She continues to ram the bike into the wall. So I created this kind of motto where I kind of realized that children at that age couldn't understand that they were kind of upsetting me or making me sad. So I would tell them that on that third time, I would say, Sarah, you're making my heart very sad. And you're making my heart very sad. And I'm going to now have to take the bike away. I would actually use that in the first 2 sentences as well when I spoke to them, because they were familiar with that phrase. But basically what I took from that was they couldn't physically see that I was sad because I wasn't crying. And most children who see other children crying know that they are sad. So yes, they know that they have a heart, but you can't see it. So they can't physically see that my heart's sad. But then when I said, you're making my heart sad, they would kind of be like, like a light bulb will kind of turn on and be like, okay, I'm doing something I'm not supposed to be doing. But you still get those defiant and strong-willed children that will still ram the bike into the wall, and you'd take it away, and then they'd be upset with you, and they would sit in the thinking corner watching that timer for 2 minutes, and then you'd go to them and be like, okay, Sarah, why did I put you in the thinking corner? And she'd reply, because I was riding the bike into the wall. And then I would ask her, and how did they make me feel? Sad. And why didn't I want you to do it? Because it can break. And so they understand it. They are just pushing boundaries. But regardless of that, they are cute. They absorb information just like the older children, and we totally underestimate them. And so yeah, I would like to end off the video there, or with regards to my favorite teaching ages. Remember to be kind, you are loved, and don't be so hard on yourself. So I hope you like this video. If you have any other things you would like to hear or see from me, comment them down below. Comments or message me directly on Instagram on Life with Sarge. And I'll see you soon. Bye.